you no longer have testicles. You have,
yes, that's
you
not
have no
coming back.
penis. You have a hole where your penis used to be.
Yes.
And this is compassionate, and this is
And
preventing you from
actually, a
killing
lot of
yourself.
kids die with these sex change operations. They die. The number of deaths on the operating table, people don't hear about those. A lot of the kids, because we don't really actually have the technology to make this work. So a bunch of the times the kids just die in the sex change operations.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's demented, which it should be viewed as like, like evil Nazi doctor stuff, basically.
Well, that's why it was
like
so
real Nazi, not the bullshit fake Nazi stuff.
crazy that even pushing back against something that seems like fundamentally, logically very easy to argue, the old Twitter would ban you forever.
Yes.
That's how crazy a social contagion can get. When it completely defies logic, victimizes children,
Yeah.
does something that makes no sense, does not supported by data, all connected to this ideology that trans is good, we got to save trans kids, protect trans kids.
Yeah, and what I want to emphasize is that the save trans kids thing is a lie. If you castrate kids and trans them, the probability of suicide increases. It does not decrease. It substantially increases. The studies that have done that I've seen, the risk of suicide triples if you trans kids. So you're not saving them, you're killing them. Moreover, during the sex change operation, there are many deaths that occur during the sex change operation.
Jesus Christ. It's just crazy that this is a real issue.
Yeah. It's a nightmare fever dream, and people are finally waking up from it.
Now, when you started getting into the Doge stuff and started finding how much money is being shuffled around and moved around to NGOs and how much money is involved and just totally untraceable funds, like, this is, again, something like 2 years plus ago, you weren't aware of it all?
No, I was aware of it. I just didn't realize how big it was. It's just how much waste and fraud there is in the government is truly vast. In fact, the government didn't even know, nor did they care.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And
I mean, just like some of the very basic stuff that Doge did will have lasting effects. And some of these things, like, they're so elementary you can't believe it. So the Doge team got most of the main payments computers to require the congressional appropriation code. So when a payment is made, you have to actually enter the congressional appropriation code. That used to be optional, and often would be just left blank. So the money would just go out, but it wasn't even tied to a congressional appropriation. Then Doge team also made the comment field for the payment mandatory. So you have to say something. We're not saying that what is said, like, you can say anything. Your cat could run across the keyboard. You could go QWERTY ASDF, but you have to say something above nothing, because what we found was that there were tens of billions, maybe hundreds of billions of dollars that were zombie payments. So they're like, somebody had approved a payment, somebody in the government approved a payment, and some recurring payment, and they retired or died or changed jobs, and no one turned the money off. So the money would just keep going out, and it's a pretty rare.
go where?
To a company or an individual. And it's a pretty rare company or individual who will complain that they're getting money that they should not get. And a bunch of the money was just going to were transfer payments to the states.
So these are automatic payments.
Just automatic payments.
No accounting for them at all.
Like, imagine like there's an automatic debit of your credit card, and you never look at the statement.
Right.
So it's just money going out. That's why I call them zombie payments. That they might have been legitimate at one point, but the person who approved that recurring payment changed jobs, died, retired, or whatever, and no one ever turned the money off. And my guess is that's probably at least $100 billion a year maybe 200.
And going where?
To I mean, there are millions of these payments. So it's, I mean,
Millions.
yes.
Millions of payments that are going to who knows where.
Yes. So in a bunch of cases, there are fraud rings that operate, professional fraud rings that operate to exploit the system. They figure out some security hole in the system, and they just do professional fraud. That's where we found, for example, people who were, 300 years old in the Social Security Administration database.
Now, I thought that this was a mistake of not registering their deaths, that people were born like a long time ago and it had defaulted to like a certain number. And so that after time, those people were still in the system. It was just an error of the way the accounting was done.
Yeah. So that's not true. So there's, or at least one of two things must be true. There's a typo or some mistake in the computer, or it's fraudulent. But we don't have any 300-year-old vampires living in America.
Allegedly.
And we don't have people in some cases who are receiving payments who are born in the future.
Born in the future?
Born in the future.
Really?
Yes. There were the people receiving payments whose birth date was like in 2100 and something.
Okay, so
next century.
Is there a task
So
force?
we know that one of two things must be true. That either there's a mistake in the computer or it's fraud. But if you have someone's birth date that's either in the future or where they are older than the oldest living American, because the oldest living American is 114 years old. So if they're more than 114 years old, there is either a mistake, and someone should call them and say, I think we have your birthday wrong, because it says you were born in 86. That was before, before there was really an America. It was like, that's kind of early. We're still fighting England type of thing. It's like this person either needs to be in the Guinness Book of World Records or they're not alive.
But still, at the end of the day, money is going towards that account that's connected to this person that is either non-existent or
so
dead.
So there was I think something like 20 million people in the Social Security Administration database that could not possibly be alive. If their birth date is based on their birth date, they could not possibly be alive.
And then to be clear, 20 million people that were receiving funds?
A bunch of most of them were not receiving funds. Some of them were receiving funds. Most were not receiving funds. But so let me tell you how the scam works. It's a bank shot. So the Social Security Administration database is used as the source of truth by all the other databases that the government uses. So even if they stop the payments on the Social Security Administration database, like unemployment insurance, small business administration, student loans, all check the Social Security Administration database to say, is this a legitimate alive person? And if the Social Security database will say, yes, this person is still alive, even though they're 200 years old. But forgets to mention that they're 200 years old. It just returns when the computer is queries, it says, yes, this person is alive. And so then they're able to exploit the entire rest of the government ecosystem. So then you get fake student loans, then you get fake unemployment insurance, then you get fake medical payments.
And this doesn't have to be tied to an individual where there's an address where you can check on this person.
No, if you just did any check at all, you would stop this. So that's.
And how much money do you think is being...
Any check, like anything at all, that would stop the fraud, like any effort at all. Yeah.
So there's multiple layers.
Yes.
The Social Security number verifies that this is a real person.
Right.
And then the other systems check up on...
every other government payment and every other government payment system, for everything from, like I said, small business administration, student loans, Medicaid, Medicare, every other government payment, of which there are many, there are actually hundreds of government payment systems, can all be exploited so long as Social Security database says this person is alive.